You ready to start it off how we started off?
All right. 1, 2.
Yeah. What are you drinking, sir?
I'm drinking Black Rifle coffee and wearing Black Rifle coffee. We're not sponsored yet.
Hopefully soon.
Hopefully soon.
Love that stuff, though. What'd you get, espresso? What is it, espresso with cream?
It is espresso with cream. Yes,
Okay.
it is, yeah.
Is it, what is it, vanilla flavored or what?
Yeah, it's cream flavored. The little strip on the top kind of indicates to me that hopefully it's vanilla creamed. I don't know.
The good stuff.
Does cream have one flavor or does it have multiple flavors? I have no idea.
That is a good question.
That's not what we're talking about today.
What are we reviewing today?
We are reviewing Gladiator II.
Oh, my God.
And everyone, welcome to the show. This is the pilot episode
Of?
Motley Reviewers. We review
Motley.
movies, not you, not us, but we review movies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we do it a little bit different. We take into not just the viewer aspect, but we look into
That
actors
film
aspect and the film.
and the filmmakers aspect. This is true. So, Gladiator II is a 2024 historical epic film. Very much was epic.
Mm-hmm.
Directed and produced by Ridley Scott and serves as a sequel to Gladiator, written by David Scrapula, based on a story he wrote with Peter Craig. The film was produced by Scott Free Productions, distributed by Paramount Pictures. It stars Paul Mescal, Pedro Pascal, Joseph Quinn, Fred, I'm so sorry, Fred, Hetchinger, Laurez, I'm so sorry, Derek Jacobi, so sorry too. So many people, I'm just screwing up their names. Connie Nelson, there's one I can say right. And the man,
Denzel.
the myth,
Uh-oh.
the Minch, Washington.
Yeah.
Mescal portrays Lucius, a prisoner of war who fights as a gladiator for Macrinus. I didn't get that name right either. A former slave who plots to overthrow the twin emperors Geta and Calcala. I
Calcutta.
think that's how you say it, yeah. Okay, then. So, what were your thoughts on the opening, let's say 5 minutes?
Loved, personally,
Mhm.
the whole cartoon it becomes almost, this animation. And for that, it kind of, I mean, you talked about this before, too.
Mhm.
I wanted it to be its own story. I didn't want it to be following into, and spoiler alert, sorry guys. I didn't want to, I kind of, that's one of the things I was hoping always for, is I didn't want it to be, I wanted it to be its own story, because the first one's so fucking good. I mean, let's just be honest. You can't.
Very true.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes with me, I'm just like, if something's so good, leave it alone. Create a whole new story, you know.
Yeah.
And right when the titles, because this is your second time watching it, you was not gonna give me any spoilers, and I was immediately, I was like, oh, this is gonna be somehow tied to Maximus.
Yeah. Russell Crowe in the original, if no one knows. And if you don't know, go watch the original. My
Probably one
God.
of the best movies. I'd say probably the top 100 movies of all time, without a doubt.
Yes. Yes. Rewatchability, super high.
Oh yeah.
Super high.
I mean, you could be, if it's on, you just automatically just look over and you just fall into it.
Like almost every line of that movie is quotable. Yes, it's the original.
Not the second.
Not
second
not
was
the
okay.
second one. Not what we're talking about right now. We're
First
segueing.
one. Yeah.
We're gonna go back to the sequel. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
They did go with the son route, which is Lucius, which in hindsight, everyone was theorizing it for years and years after the film came out. That's Maximus's kid. So they went with it. I'm okay with it. What I did not like in the beginning was the whole like last week on thing kind of that they did. But I mean, I like the effect they did to the scenes from the original one that they put back into the film. The like watercolor painter's effect was cool.
Yeah.
I just wish they had just opened with that black background with the title cards kind of like catching you up to speed and then just dropping you into like his hands are like playing. Like they're doing a motif because in the original Russell Crowe's playing with dirt. Well, he's playing with wheat.
Yeah.
And you get to see his wife or who becomes his wife in like 3 minutes. Because, spoiler alert, they get attacked right off the rip.
By the Roman Empire.
By the Roman Empire, by a general. Let me go back down here. Let me go back to this cast. By Pedro Pascal. They're going to like blackball me or something. I don't know. He plays general. He plays a general. I'm not going to say that name because
how you say it.
I keep feeling worse and worse as I mispronounce these names.
Let me say it. I'll say it.
You say it.
Here. Say it.
Yeah. You read it.
Okay. General Acasus.
That was just as good as I was going to do.
There we go. We're going to go with that.
We're going to go with that. He literally, and what, I think it was it Nibia? Or Nibia. That they were attacking, was it?
I think it was.
It was, yeah. That's what they attacked. So they attacked that village. Okay, now what did you think of the battle scene?
The battle scene from, you talking about the beginning or
from that particular battle?
I liked it. Okay. I didn't love it. I definitely liked it. Killing his wife. I mean, that
pissed me off, but that also had to happen for the story to progress.
And for me, also him, and we'll talk about it, but keeping that memento, that arrow that went through her, he didn't
need to keep that. That was kind of weird. Well, I mean, like they're doing motifs, they're doing callbacks to the original, and I love Ridley Scott to death as a filmmaker.
Without a doubt.
He is the king of historical epics. Pun definitely intended. But a lot of these callbacks were just just not needed, man. Yeah. And like all of them throughout the film.
And that's one thing me and you talked about after we went to that barbecue spot. Mission Barbecue. Sponsor us. We love you. We love you. We love your barbecue. It's one of the things like me and you was talking about. Ridley Scott, I don't think he either had control of the edit, or I think there was so much more footage they shot and they never showed. Because I think that the way the pacing was with that film, it's just like boom, 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 boom the whole time. And I definitely, him is, the way I think he would think and stuff is, I think he didn't get a lot of way he probably wanted with that edit. Or they ran out of money or something. I mean, it could be a billion things.
You know what would have been a really cool story angle, and I just remembered this, thank God, is what if they switched it up? So instead of it being a revenge into saving the empire kind of trope, what if his wife hadn't died and she had been enslaved somewhere else and he had to become a gladiator to try to find her? And then so that's where his character, that's where the conflict is. It's him only caring about his new family.
Yeah.
That is more important to him.
Yeah.
So that's the conflict, is either saving that or saving his old family, i.e. his mother and Rome. That would have been a more interesting conflict from my point of view. And with everything else that happens in the script, I think it would have played better. Turn it. Yeah. I think it would have played better.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
God, I think one of the things that bothered me early on, and I talked to you about it, was when they first get into the Coliseum, and he's like trying to get all these people, like like his father had to gain all this respect, this fighting, and then the men they're like, this dude's a general. Let's follow him and we'll survive. And then his son, Lucian, how do you say his name?
Lucius.
He's like, we should be doing, and then the one dude's like, hell no, I'm going to go do this myself.
My own thing. Yeah.
I think that as the battle started progressing, I think they trusted him a lot quicker, way too quick, almost.
I understand that perspective, and I do agree with that to a certain degree. I think in that battle, like he's starting to win their trust, 100%. But it's very weird because, and I think it might be because the original is just so ingrained in my soul.
Yeah.
That how the character's being portrayed is he's acting like a general.
Yeah.
Not once
has he been a general.
Yeah. That he has a title. He has a rank.
Or has even war experience. You know? He's probably had battle experience.
I would say he has battle experience just because of that opening battle.
Yeah, he knew how to handle
himself. He knew how to handle himself.
But he didn't know how to, I don't think, command a group. That's what I think.
and that's the confusing thing is it's like kind of referenced that he doesn't know how to command. Like people are saying that, or he's saying it, but you see him command.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense.
It's almost like they're trying to play off that he's Maximus' son and it comes natural for him to lead. Mm-hmm. And that's never the case.
No, you know? Like just make it streamlined, make it easy. Like, you know what made it so much easier?
What's that?
Is if like when him and the Numidian king are like talking to each other before the fight happens, he goes something along the lines of, I knew I made a right choice making you captain of the guard or something like that.
Kind of play off. Yeah, give him that
give
rank.
Him some sort of rank.
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, well, I knew you would amount to something, that pesky little peasant just running around and blah, 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 which is kind of what he did. Yeah. That's not the lines verbatim, but that was the gist.
I love the monkeys. That
really
the fighting of the monkeys, because it's just so, I think, unique. Because in the
it's
past
definitely
film,
unique.
Yeah, I don't think they had in the original.
I don't think
Gladiator,
it's historically accurate.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah,
but I mean, I think if they redid Gladiator probably today, the original one, and they did it this time, I think that they would have used the animations and stuff like. I mean, that's the only thing I say about the baboons. I was like, God, fighting.
The CGI of it just threw me out.
Yeah.
To me, like, one of the reasons why the original Gladiator works so well for me is, yes, there is CGI in it, but it's so minimal.
Yeah.
And it only amplifies the film.
Yeah.
With this one, a lot of the CGI was taking me out of it. Just because it looks, not that
it takes you away from reality.
You away from reality because it's not meshed well with what is actually real and practical.
Yeah.
On the set.
Like the sharks. That's one thing me and you talked about.
Yeah.
And I didn't know until you told me that you looked into the historical accuracy. I never thought they could flood the Coliseum without a doubt. Yeah. I was like, how the hell, I was like, they're just doing this to do this for the film. And you was like, no.
That's why the walls were so high.
Yeah. And they had what was it, the spigot thing?
Lion. What was it, lion head?
It was
lion faces? Yeah. Just water coming in, yeah.
Yeah. Definitely the sharks, I believe, unbelievable because, I mean, sharks don't always go for blood all the time. You know, it's like
Now I haven't looked it up, and I probably should have before the time of this recording. But like those, I don't want to call them. No, this is what I want to call them. Those afterlife little visions he's having when he's sleeping.
Yeah,
I don't know much about Roman mythology. I know more about Greek mythology, and I know the Romans took a lot from Greek mythology. But what I was going to say is I do like the imagery of what's going on, the conflict, what's going on. Again, I think it would have been better if he's chasing after his wife to trying to save her. That's just my point of view.
Yeah.
But yeah, what did you think of that stuff? That kind of imagery.
Imagery, I liked it. Definitely, I liked a lot of it. I didn't like the twins. For me, I think that always a ruler is just one ruler. I didn't like
I think that's historically accurate, though. They were
twin rulers?
Twins. Yes, I think it's historically accurate.
I had no clue about that.
Yeah, I think it is.
I mean, that's one of the things that threw me off. Now, Denzel's character, loved his character.
Oh, he was the star of the show.
Yeah. I didn't expect him to be the villain.
I did. From the trailers, you can totally tell. Like, he's up to no good.
Yeah.
He was also the most flamboyant that I've ever seen him.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt.
Yeah, he killed this role. And I also like that he sort of had... Well, no, I take it back. I liked it, and then I didn't like it. So, like, when he's, like, maneuvering And Lucius is like, hey, why are you doing this? And he's like, you'll never know. I was like, ooh.
Yeah. Mystery.
That's a Heath Ledger Joker little thing. I love that. Maybe he just wants to, destroy stuff. You're never going to find out. And then you start finding out when he's talking to the princess, the Connie Nelson's character, and you're just like, okay, well, I guess you kind of took away that, but you kind of didn't. Okay, I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
That ending sword fight was not the greatest. The Joaquin one and Russell Crowe from the original was a lot better.
Yeah. Well, for me, when these armies all come together, I mean, what happens when you have armies coming together? They're going to fight.
They are. Yeah.
And they're not going to sit back and watch two people.
Honestly, I think that was actually a very classic ancient tradition. Because I think they depicted it in Troy. I want to say this is a thing. If it's not, then I'm sorry.
Yeah, saying that now, with Troy.
But like they would have their champions
fight each other.
The actual fight and save the armies.
Yeah, I forgot about Troy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see. Let me just go through some notes here.
Okay.
Let's look at the cast. Denzel Washington. So Denzel Washington's character is loosely based on Marcus Opelius Marcinus, a former slave who plans to control Rome. He keeps a stable, gladiators, Director really described him as pretty fucking cruel to arena fighters in Washington, adding that he wants to be emperor and is willing to do anything to get there. Well, you saw it in the movie. He was willing to do anything.
Turned brother against brother and everything else.
Yeah, he did. Dude. Yeah. That was insane. And okay, so my Stranger Things boy, Joseph Quinn as Emperor Gaeta. What did you think? I loved him in Stranger Things.
Yeah. I didn't like either of the twins.
Yeah, you did say that.
I hated, I think that they, like Marcus Aurelius, right? He was a ruler. Always looked at, Roman rulers like they had some kind of war experience and stuff. These two guys were like straight up, very feminine, very, I want my grapes and I want to watch, this battle happen between when they was eating the grapes.
Yeah.
They're fighting. There was just, to me, it looked like they made them like spoiled brats. Like, oh, who's gonna? And to me, it wouldn't surprise me that if that really was like they was just so flamboyant and they're I think somebody would have came in and took over pretty quick because they didn't have any respect. I think.
Well, historically, that happened a lot. So it's Marcus. What is considered the high point of the Roman Empire is Marcus Aurelius, and after him, it starts to decline. Now, the years that historians like the specific year changes, but they always generally say Marcus Aurelius was the beginning of the end of the high point.
Okay.
100 years later is when they split, or 100-ish years, and becomes Byzantine Empire and the Roman Empire that already has been. Yeah.
See, I didn't know that. You know the history parts.
Well, I just watched a video on the history of it a few days ago. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
What's cool is, well, not cool. Well, yeah, it is cool. We took the eagle imagery from the Roman Empire.
Okay, I can
a lot of people took a lot of inspiration from the Roman Empire.
Yeah, they was very influential for, trading and everything. Everything.
Well, what it was, the whole point of the Roman Empire to begin with, from the research that I did, was everyone comes together and pays X amount of whatever for the army for defense and trading and stuff like that. And it was growing and growing and growing because everyone wanted that. And then at some point, and this is the key thing too, is the army was loyal to the state.
Oh.
It was loyal to the country of Rome.
Okay.
Yeah. Around the time of Julius Caesar, the army started becoming loyal to the generals.
Oh.
And the generals were getting all high and mighty. And everyone before that was like, we're going to take our share, like our bit at our level, and leave everything else alone. Around Julius Caesar's time, they're like, nah, I'm going to take what's mine.
Julius.
And that's what happened a lot.
Yeah.
And a bunch of brutal civil wars happened.
Oh, yeah. You got the people trying to fight for the power, and you got the people in power not wanting to lose the power.
Exactly.
Classic story.
Mm-hmm.
One thing me and you talked about, Pascal's character. I hated, and going back to what I said in the beginning, he held on to this
arrow thing. Yeah.
I think when that happened, he had no time to know who he was, no time. I think that moment, without a doubt, the man that just killed his wife, without it, kill him, not give him no spare. And one thing me and you talked about was I wish it would have happened that he would have probably been in a jail with him, and they would have had time. This maybe just a small fraction to talk, because you're a man, I'm a man too. If something so bad happened, like a killing state in a way, you know, you could get by with murder and stuff.
Yeah, you're like in a frenzied state. You're seeing red,
and you're in a situation where let's just say
everyone's just going, kill him,
and you can kill him,
and you're seeing red, and it's totally legal,
and it's the guy that you literally have been waiting the whole time to kill. I think that's the one thing that just threw the whole film off for me.
It's the key moment that threw everything off, because you have built it up to this moment, and it's
red hot.
It's red hot, and this is supposed to be the turn, right? This is the twist. He doesn't do it. Why? Because he's the hero. The hero doesn't do anything terrible. The problem is, and you brought it up, is they did not develop it and structure it enough for that moment to be as important as it should be.
Yeah. If he never killed before, I get it. He'd be hesitant to kill.
Yeah.
He's been killing the whole fucking time.
He's been killing the whole fucking time. He did not have enough of a conversation with his mother. Like, I get the scene that they did have. She was she was trying to connect to him. And he was very much just like, no, go away, screw you, my mom's dead, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
For an opening scene, like opening of the conversation, okay, cool. You should have done another scene or do something to where they're talking more, or he's talking with the general and being like, hey.
Imprisoned or something. You know?
Yeah. And even with my suggestion with his wife being alive, make it be like she's in there and she's the prize. You take him out. You win your freedom. You get to take your wife, and
that's your prize,
and that's your prize. And you guys go off, whatever, and you let us keep Rome. We won't gank you or whatever. I don't know if this is historically like an accurate thing. Like they would actually let you do that.
Yeah.
Or you do what you did and didn't kill him, and that seals you and your wife's fate.
Yeah. I kind of would like to see that film kind of over. I mean,
okay. So that brings us to the point of why we're doing this with our perspectives as a filmmaker. If you were given this opportunity, what would you want to do?
For me, and I said it in the very beginning, I would have. You got the original. I wouldn't have touched anything. Nothing needs to have proceeded past Marcus. Or Maximus.
Maximus, yes.
He had the whole. I mean, gained the trust, all this stuff. And he had the best story, even dying, the last parts. He's walking through, he's seeing his, family. Leave that alone. Sometimes don't even try it. I mean, maybe 20 years from now, remake the film or something, but don't do a sequel.
They did. Oh, remake the film. My bad.
Yeah, remake. Yes.
I thought you were saying sequel.
No,
I was
sequel.
like, they did. That's why we're here.
For me, again, as a filmmaker, if it was me, I would be like, it needs to be a whole new story. Keep it a part of the Gladiator universe. Yeah, without a doubt. For me, it's don't bring the sun in. Make it this whole unique. I mean, when it first started, I had a feeling from the the
promotional
titles.
Material.
Yeah. And, well, even the title is coming in. It's like, it's going to be Maximus somewhere, and it's going to fall into the story. I was hoping so bad when I saw the kid. I was like, okay, this is going to be a whole new story, And then we started, when you talked about it, they brought some of the best people back. The Senate.
Yeah.
They brought some of these real characters back.
They brought legacy characters back, yes.
And for just that alone, it definitely raised the bar for me. Saying instead of I hate this film due to that, it was, if you brought back at least, you did at least a diligence to that.
It didn't wait the film because the film was already weighted. It didn't ground it because it was already grounded, but it made the world a little bit more lived in.
Yeah.
Bringing back legacy characters like that. And a way to make sense, and in a weird way actually does give them justice. Because the scenes with Connie Nielsen's character, they're not for show. It's not just like, hey, we brought this name in so people were
She's got a purpose.
Yeah. She's not here for solely butts and seats. Her character actually has a point to the story.
Yeah, trying to save her son.
And not so much the fact with Senator Gaius, but at the same point, he didn't really have that big a role in the first one either. He is a crucial character, but he's not really.
Yeah.
He's a background character in all the scenes. Or someone's talking to him. You're not following him like you're following Connie Nielsen. So
yeah,
but I like that. No, okay. So what I really mean is, like, who would you want to bring on? Like, what would you want to make this more practical? Would you want to make this less practical? Maybe more like a volume type situation. Like, Universal is giving you the keys to the candy store. How do you want to make your Gladiator movie?
How would I make it?
Yeah.
I would definitely bring back some legacy characters. That's what I would have done. Kept it in the same universe. I think Pedro Pascal, without a doubt, just who he is now, I would have brought him in anyway. He was never in the first one, you know? Yeah. For me, I forgot who was there was some other characters in there that didn't make a return, I believe. Some of the Roman army. Who was it? His friend. That survived at the end.
Yeah. I can't say his name right. Damon Hanju.
I think it was. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm terrible with these pronunciations.
Bringing something like that back, you know.
Now, I actually thought about him coming back, and I was just like, doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I can't think of a scenario where he would come back.
Yeah.
Unless you're in Nibia, unless he's there, because he did mention, like, his tribe is from Africa.
Yeah.
He didn't mention that. But, like, even then, if you did it, because of how the film is structured, the king of Nibia dies when you go to the first Gladiator ring. That's another thing. I don't like you bring back legacy characters and then kill them off super quick.
And I would have if this was my thing, right? And I was told you have to keep with Gladiator 1 somehow. I wouldn't have made it about the kid. I would have brought back what was his name again?
Maximus?
No, we was just talking about the African.
Oh, well, I'm saying his real name. I'm butchering it. Damon Hanju.
Yeah. I would have brought him back as the king of Nibia. And, okay, dude's already got his freedom in a way. Went back to Africa, right? Okay, somehow, I mean, for me, it would have been, he's back in the arena. He's got to fight for his freedom again. You know, almost. I think just his lore of being there anyway in the beginning, I think it would have been automatically, these people be like, hey, this dude's already done it. We could follow him. And then you would have I'd still bring the Denzel character in a way, right? But then you would have this dynamic of, maybe he's so mad, he's going to work with Denzel and take over, you know, as an empire, you know? I think that would have made a whole different approach to the story. No,
it definitely would. So, and I know you're spitballing here right now, but like how, from my perspective, at the end of Gladiator, he won his freedom because the games were done.
Yeah.
So are we opening up with him back and slaved again in the ring,
and this is just like
and you're just spitballing. Yeah. What
I think it would have made a good, like the Roman Empire, you know, like we give you your freedom, but we can always take it. It's this
That's true.
power play.
That's true.
From, like I was saying, if it was done this way, let's just say, you know, we'll give you all the keys to the kingdom.
Yeah.
I think it would be like, I mean, it's like anything we live in nowadays or any other country. It's always you have the government and you have the people. And I think that if it would be one of those things, I think a viewer would be watching and going, God, he won his freedom. Now he's back to square one. It just, and then it would, I think, play off if you kept the twins in. He's already won his freedom. They'd be looking around being like, okay, we don't care, almost.
Yeah.
At that point, it seems like the Roman Empire didn't care what they did. It would be, okay, he won his freedom. Okay, he's got the wooden sword, and burn it, See if he can do it again. That'd be a true revenge story. Yeah, I mean, you got your freedom.
Yeah, so we open up on him.
Yeah.
And maybe the Nebula, I can't say it. Thank you. The country does get attacked, and he gets decimated, and he's one of the only survivors, and he gets thrown back in slavery. And they don't have identification cards back then. Yeah. So, maybe he does get thrown back into slavery, and he has to fight his way out.
Now, what was
that would be interesting.
His mother's name again? What was her character?
Because
that would have made sense for her to be walking, it's like.
But she never met him.
Oh,
she never really met him.
I haven't seen that first one in so long.
Lucilla, that's what it was. Lucilla.
How would you do it?
How would I make it?
If you got the keys to the kingdom, would you keep it?
I would try to go as practical as I possibly could and shoot on set in the elements as possibly as I could. Mm-hmm. Another Gladiator film. What would I write? I would probably sort of do the original. I would probably focus on a Roman soldier, not a general. Actually, you know what? A Roman conscript.
Okay.
Doesn't even want to be in the empire. He was literally drafted.
Okay.
It's sort of like the Spartacus story in a way, where
Spartacus.
He was a different country, and this is very loose. He was a warrior for a different country, got decimated, got thrown into slavery, became a gladiator, right? Mm-hmm. So what if this guy is like a down on his luck criminal guy, but he's like naturally gifted as a fighter, gets thrown into the army, does a battle, 2 years go by, he gets really good at it, but he's just waiting for that opportunity to get out. Mm-hmm. He gets out, but he still gets caught or something like that, and then he gets thrown into slavery, gets thrown into the gladiator games. That's just me like going off of a very basic premise. I don't know what I would do after. I don't know what the second or third acts would be, but I mean that's a decent first act setup.
Yeah.
What
about this scenario? Okay, check this out, and it just hit me.
Okay.
Maximus Younger. Okay. Just starting out in the Roman army, building his prestige, right? Mm-hmm. Coming back to Rome, and the games are happening. Mm-hmm. He befriends somehow, some way. He's at the games. He sees a slave that's just beyond like talented. You know, his thought is, Younger, growing into ranks. I want to try to help him get freed to come maybe fight with me on the battlefield. Maybe something like that. I know it. I mean, I'm just spitballing with that.
Yeah.
But it would be, I think that would be more of paying homage to the original, going back in time in a way, instead of what they did.
To be honest, I think actually what I would have done, looking back on it now, is what I've already suggested. Uh-huh. Go with him being the son. Just
the son.
Just embrace it.
Okay. Embrace it.
His wife doesn't get killed in the battle.
Yeah. No, if they did that, I would.
They both live. Yeah. They get separated. Mm-hmm. He gets thrown into being a gladiator. She doesn't. Whatever. Because she's a woman. She's pretty. Probably a palace hand. Something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Denzel's like, "What can I do to blah blah blah?" Right? Like he does in the film. Yeah. In the film, he's like, "I want the general's head." What if he goes, "I want my wife back"? Okay. Well. Spill enough blood for me and I'll find her for you.
Make that happen for you.
And he does that. And he's doing his little political intrigue, trying to become the emperor, playing his politic games. Mm-hmm. And it gets to the point where he figures out his identity. It's like, okay, cool. Well, I got you your wife, but now you got to do something for me. Well, I'm already doing something for you. Yeah. But I want you to get me the imperial ship. I don't know, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Let me be the high guy. Mm-hmm. He's like, well, okay, sure. And at the same time, like in the film, his mom figures it out. The general guy is still in the picture.
Yeah.
And they're both still trying to work their angle, which is give the Roman people their freedom.
Yeah.
And so they see Lucius as like the natural, well, he is the natural successor to this. So like get him on board. Well, he's not on board. Mm-hmm. And why is that? Because you left them and never came back to find them. He writes off his old family, you two, and wants to be with his new family.
Yeah.
And they try to like persuade him and tell him it wasn't like that, blah, blah, however that would happen, right?
Yeah.
And then they get found out about what they're trying to do, the treason, because of Denzel, because he has a spy or something.
Yeah.
In the holding cells or whatever,
yeah.
Right? And so Denzel goes, all right, fine. You know what? You want your freedom. You want to be with your wife. I want the crown, essentially.
Yeah.
I need this general guy out of the way. Uh-huh. You kill him, you and your wife win your freedom.
Yeah.
If you don't do it, well, things could happen.
Yeah.
That gives you the turn. That gives you the character development. And that sends him on the path of what he does do in the third act.
Yeah. I can see that.
That's what I would do.
Now let's talk about Denzel.
Okay.
I like this character. I mean, I wouldn't say loved. I definitely think is probably one of the strongest.
Denzel delivers like the man always does.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't think the man has a bad movie in his bones.
I'm glad that he did this older. I think that if he would have done this, as a younger man, he would have did way different than he did as his character.
I'm with you there. Mm-hmm. I wish we would have gotten like a
hint,
an early 2000s Denzel though, just because of the sword fight. The sword fight was very anticlimactic.
Yeah. And one thing I gotta say, you talked about right when it just hit my head too, just when I was thinking about it in my mind. Some of the cinematography on this thing, it was shot very soft.
Yeah.
Me and you was talking about it's like you got this $100 million movie, and you got to focus us off certain times. I was like, oh my God, are you serious? And I told you about it before. The extra that was being extra.
Oh, yeah.
There's this dude, that's in the scene when they're the guards are having to attack
the people.
The people.
Yeah.
And this one guy's just like staring at the camera, and he's going. I'm like, he is spiking as much footage as they shot. I wish it just would have either cut early or changed out that whole thing, because that dude was just like, he's in the middle, and it's like my eyes go to weird stuff like that. I was like, that dude is just being extra,
Now, what people don't know about spiking the camera, it's like this. Something's happening, and I'm just looking at the camera like, yeah, the camera's on me, yeah. I don't care about the scene. Yeah, the camera's on me. Yeah. That's what spiking the camera is.
Spiking is just, it's
a no-no in the film industry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's almost, it's like deer in headlights. I mean, without a doubt, you're looking right at the viewer. They shouldn't be looked at all unless it's a POV or something.
They should be looked at, but it's in support of constructing the world.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry, background actors. I've done it a few times too, but the nature of the job is to help show the world, help make the world feel real and lived in, and not fake.
Yeah.
And you have to be
it's
not oblivious,
big thing.
but you have to blend. That's what it is. You have to blend in a crowd, and the moment that you don't, the moment you stand out, you destroy the viewer, the story, everything. The story, everything. Yeah. You destroy the vision. It takes you out. Yeah, exactly. It takes you out of what we're trying to watch.
And background, I don't think a lot of people understand this. Background is so key. You know? I don't think they ever get enough credit.
They do not.
They don't.
100%.
And they're the guys that's in the bars sometimes, or even in this scene, it's like, that scene is not made without the extras, And it's just that one guy. I'm just like, God, all the actions happening that way. Why are you looking this way,
Maybe it was his first one.
It could have been. And that's I think that's still one of the things that I hated about that film. I'm like, there is so much footage. Cut that shit out. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and I hope, I told you before, I hope that when it goes to streaming, they always sometimes have a theater version and then the streaming version. Well, maybe they caught that.
I'm sure. Well, I don't know if he's done doing them because he used to do them all the time, but director's cuts. Hopefully, he has a director's cut of this. He usually has a director's cut.
Oh, without a doubt, I think we're going to see a director's cut.
Yeah,
I'm almost really more excited about that because it's definitely going to probably follow.
Oh, yeah, and it'll probably make the film make more sense because 9 movies out of 10, it usually does.
Yeah.
Everything makes way more sense with everything in there. It's just the studio's like, cut it down.
We're going to hit this time mark without a doubt.
Yep. Yeah. I'm giving you the military knife hand. Cut it down.
Got it.
Cut it down now. But I don't care. Cut it down.
Who's your favorite character?
Favorite character. God. Actually, you know what? The Doctor.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah.
The Doctor, man. Yeah. I love
God,
the Doctor.
You said I forgot about the dude.
That was honestly probably my favorite scene is between them when he's doctoring his hand. Now, callback lines, I think this was the perfect moment for bringing back an old line from Gladiator. It's like the dream of Rome. If you only could whisper it, it would vanish. Like, in how that conversation goes down makes 100% sense.
Yeah.
Them constantly saying strength and honor 50,000 times in the movie.
Yeah. Now, what was...
I'm over it.
Russell Crowe, he improv that. What was
he improv that. And strength and honor. He improv that in the original.
And then this time they just...
And it's a great line.
Oh, yeah,
I love it. But yes, it's everywhere, so it loses its importance.
Yeah.
And then another great line I love from it, that's perfectly how they used it, is what you do in life echoes in eternity.
I like that.
They did it twice. The first time I was like, okay, you're doing a legacy line. The second time, no one says it. It's inscrolled on Maximus's tomb.
Yeah.
Well, so maybe it's said 3 times, actually. So the first time I didn't like it, I think. But the second time, it was the second time because it's also in that scene, which is kind of weird to do 2 legacy lines in one scene. If I remember correctly. No, when he's doctoring his hand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because, I think it's Lucia. She says, what we do in life echoes in eternity. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, you're a little on the nose. But it still makes sense. And that's still probably my favorite scene in the film.
Yeah.
That was one good thing about the original Gladiator is there was more, I can't say the word right, more brotherhood.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, these characters are actually, like, interacting and, like, talking to each other and getting to know each other. And, like...
And he built that, though. He built that.
Yeah, but you don't see it as well in Gladiator II.
Yeah.
Not really.
No.
And that...
It's kind of like
that Gladiator II... Yeah, that Gladiator II speech, when he's, like, getting all the gladiators to go out there, it could have been better. Yeah. It could have been better written, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. He... what the actor did and how he performed it, like, he gave the material his best. But
the actors were incredible.
All the acting was amazing.
Yeah.
Do you have any other thoughts on this film?
I liked it. I know one thing you've always talked about is the rating system, and the rating system, how you do it is how you do it.
Is how I do it.
And how to explain to everybody how you do it.
So how I do it is I don't do a 1 to 10. I don't do a 1 to 5. I don't do any.
5-star
I don't do any of that. What I do is my metric is I walk in, I paid X amount of dollars. When I walk out, I want to walk out happy.
Yeah.
I don't want to walk out being like, great, well, that was a waste of money. I liked it.
Yeah.
I walked out happy.
I walked out happy too.
Was it the greatest movie in the world? No. Was it as good as the original? No. Was it the worst movie in the world?
No.
Was it an Avatar: Last Airbender? No, it was not. No, it was not. It was still good. Ooh, here we go. Budget. So it was $310 million. $250 million was net cost. Mm-hmm. Its box office was $416. So it made money.
It did profit.
It made money. So
it did well.
Let's go to one of my favorite things about this movie. Not really, because I'm being kind of ironic about it. Its potential sequel.
Oh, no.
In September 2024, Scott revealed that he was developing a script for a third film, and that the realization depends on the reception of the second installment. It will be titled Gladiator III. The plot was stated to follow the continuing adventures of Lucius Verus, who is the son. And likening the ending of Gladiator II to The Godfather Part 2, the filmmaker stated the next movie would explore the character's realization that he is now tasked with a continuing reputation that he does not want.
Okay. Now,
how do you feel about that? Yes.
I think the third one will probably be really good because it's going to be its own story. It's not going to be Gladiator because that involves the Coliseum, unless somehow they're going to do it.
I don't know.
I'm kind of more excited about that because it's going to be its own story.
I am too. I'm a little hesitant only because his historical epics are rooted in history. Loosely. I don't think there's a Marcus Ferris in history. So, like, who are they going to mold him after? Is my first question. To about this time, there wasn't so many. There were probably some more civil wars going on, but I think this was around. Was it around Octavius? No, it wasn't around Octavius. No, that's a bad point. But anyways, I kind of look at it as like the ending of Independence Day Resurgence.
Okay, yeah.
Where I was just like, okay, guys.
It's got to be done.
Okay.
But yeah.
I get what you're doing, but
yeah,
like the ending to Gladiator 1 was amazing because like it was a perfect. We're gonna tie this in a little bow and send it off. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is like the pacing, the acting. It was very slow. Mm-hmm. It was very just like
it was needed.
It was needed.
Yeah.
Yes. It didn't feel rushed. It didn't feel like we're feeding the IP machine. It was just like, this is the epilogue of our story.
Yeah.
And my favorite part about that is the music.
Oh God.
And the cinematography.
Yeah.
Because the music was that very slow, building, crescendo. That also went with the camera movement because the camera's looking down on the Coliseum and it's starting to tilt up. And you see the Rome cityscape, the Roman skyline with the sun.
Yeah.
And then slow fade out, directed by.
Yeah.
So nice.
Yeah. What's
going on in Gladiator 2? Father, speak to me. What do I do? And then cut. Like, what?
Yeah.
Very abrupt, very fast. Like it's almost like he says that, and then you should cut to Samuel L. Jackson. Well, Tony Stark, I'm starting up the Avengers.
We're starting the Avengers.
Cut.
Yeah. And it could be that they set it up that way because he's wanted a third. Maybe.
Well, maybe. We don't. Well, that's the thing is like I've come up with sequel ideas for things.
Yeah.
Whereas
we all do.
And sometimes the sequel idea was way better than the first idea. But I have to do the first movie to do the movie that I really want to do. And then
you got to get to there.
Yeah, and then every now and then the first movie is really good, and then the second movie idea, I'm like, you know what? I don't want to touch this anymore. I'm just going to do the one, and it's a one and done.
One and done, yeah.
And if someone else wants to continue it, go for it. I will take that executive producer credit and get that money.
Sit back and go with it.
Yes, it's like, this is my baby. Now it's just going to make me money.
Now, one thing I hope doesn't happen.
Yes.
I've been thinking about it whenever you said there's going to be a third. I hope Lucian doesn't find love interest. Lucius doesn't find. I'm thinking Lucian like the vampire. What is werewolf? Yeah. Lucius. I hope he doesn't find like a love interest. I mean, for me, I'm hoping he just becomes a straight up warrior almost. You know, I'm hoping that it's not, oh God, and he's loved this woman, you know, he's going to kill and this whole revenge plot. And then some new, you know, woman comes into his life and she's like, oh my God, I got to fight for her. I hope it's a story about him.
I want it to be a story about him, but how they've set up his character is at least in well, actually, no. Like, this kind of works for the first one and the second one. In the first one, he has family.
Yeah.
In the second, and he loses that family in the second one.
Yeah.
In the second one, he has a new family that he loses.
Yeah.
And he rediscovers his old family. And then he loses his old family also.
Yeah.
So he has no family.
Yeah. So he needs
basically.
family. Yeah.
And so to make it make sense and to kind of give it a little like bow tie for his story is maybe he finds someone who's not exactly his warrior wife from the second one.
Yeah.
But gives him some semblance of family. And there's a conflict there because what's good for this potential family might not be good for Rome, which kind of goes back to the story idea that I already
kind of presented.
Came up with. Yes. Yeah. I'm really on that story idea. I really like it. I don't know what they would do for a third one. I have no idea.
I guess we'll find out.
Well, if they're going to take from history, we can always look at the late Roman Empire's history and figure it out.
Yeah. I hope they stick with that too. Definitely. Like you said, Marcus Aurelius was the peak.
He was the end of the peak. There were three generals that were considered, or not generals, 3 emperors who were considered the high point of the Roman Empire. I forgot the names of the other 2. I could probably look it up, but let's just go with Marcus Aurelius because he was the last one out of the 3 emperors. And then
slowly has to bottom out.
Exactly, yeah. There was something to do with, I think it's Octavius. I don't know if it was Marcus Aurelius' kid or... No, he was the nephew of Julius Caesar. So that's like 100 years in the past from this point, so it doesn't matter. So anyways, yeah. But, final verdict?
It's good. Like you said, I mean, I walked out. I wasn't really disappointed. I didn't like some of the stuff. Mm-hmm. It was a good movie. I think it was cinematography was good, minus some focus stuff.
Minus some focus stuff.
I mean, the scenes were big.
I just say what the budget of the film was. It was $300 and something million. You'd think you could hire a great focus puller.
Yeah, without a doubt. Or at least pick a different shot.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
$310 million was your production.
Yeah. One thing me and you joked about was they didn't bring the A crew in that day.
They didn't bring the A crew in that day. Yeah, they're not even using second unit. They're using 10th unit.
Yeah, they're like, hey, all the union guys are on break here. Let's get this shot. I liked it. I liked it. What's your verdict?
I liked it.
Okay.
All right. Well, boys and girls, next week we're doing Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim.
Rowan. How do you say it again?
Rohirrim.
Rohirrim.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So tune in then.